Every sea turtle that you see in a zoo or aquarium is an animal that has been rescued from the wild and has injuries that will prevent it from surviving if it returns to the wild. We have two sea turtles here at Living Planet Aquarium. We have a green turtle named Green, and we have a loggerhead named Gabi. Green came to us from the Florida Keys, where she had been hit by a boat and then predated upon by a shark after she had been injured. And so she has a buoyancy problem and lacks use of her back flippers. And so she would not be able to survive and feed herself in the wild if she had been released. Gabi came to us from the Georgia Sea Turtle Center. She was unfortunately born with a spinal deformity. You can see the curvature on her shell. And this makes her buoyancy pretty abnormal. Buoyancy disorders are one of the main reasons why sea turtles are declared non-releasable. Here in our habitat at Living Planet, we can help them get around by putting weight pouches on their backs. And so you'll see that on both these turtles from time to time. Sometimes they'll knock them loose. But basically we will apply these weights to the back of the shell in particular areas in order to allow them to sort of orient more normally in the water and have normal buoyancy. As I'm sure you've seen while here at the aquarium, sometimes you can see them in weird positions. Gabi, our loggerhead in particular, because of her shell deformity, her lungs don't inflate uniformly. And so depending on where she is in her breath cycle, she may be buoyant on one side or the other. And so often you'll see her doing what I like to call yoga poses in different positions. And even during the course of a single breath hold on the bottom, that will change as she absorbs gas. And then when she goes back up to the surface to take a breath, it'll start all over again. So we manage weights differently on each side and sort of assess how much time she's spending flat versus tilted at an angle. And it's a very active process to keep her as comfortable as possible. While it sometimes may look like they're stuck somewhere, that's not the case. They're both very, very strong. What they do like to do though is tuck themselves in places in order to feel more secure. So you will very often see them either wedged under a piece of coral, or sometimes they like to scratch themselves so they can feel stuff along the back of that shell. And so they'll find a nice piece of coral, get underneath it and start to wiggle back and forth to basically give themselves a good back scratch. So managing sea turtles is a lot of work. We want to watch these guys really carefully, make sure we're not seeing any health problems, and managing their weight and buoyancy on a regular basis. So these guys will be handled at least once a week. We'll do sunning and UV exposure to help them build good calcium levels. We will weigh the weights, assess how they've been sitting in the water, and change those weights on a regular basis to help them stay as even as possible. These guys will have full veterinary exams at least 2 to 4 times per year. That includes blood work to assess organ function and vitamin levels, as well as x-rays to look at shell and flipper integrity. We take a very active hand in managing these guys. We monitor weights monthly. While both of these animals are sea turtles, they have very different nutritional needs. Green is an herbivore primarily, and in the wild she'd be eating a lot of seagrass. Gabi, on the other hand, as a loggerhead, is a carnivore, and so she'll eat pretty much anything she can catch. And so we put a lot of emphasis on monitoring nutrition, food intake, as well as checking weights and nutritional parameters in their blood on a regular basis to make sure that they're getting everything they need to grow. There are so many things that people can do at home that have an impact on the health of sea turtles and the ocean at large. Reducing our reliance on single-use plastics is a huge one, because a lot of the food items that sea turtles eat in the wild look a lot like plastic when they're floating in the water. I'd like to thank everyone for coming and supporting us here at Living Planet Aquarium. I'm sure you'll see our sea turtles around here in our ocean habitat. Thank you for your support and helping us take care of these amazing animals.